or you fell off a cliff and you're trying to pull yourself back up. It's not sitting there being like chest up. It's not doing that. It's saying get my ass up. It's pulling everything in like this. It's protecting itself. What is up? It's your boy Johnny Shreve, IFBB Pro, Mr. Talik it is. Today guys, we're coaching up Lat Girl. Her name is Lat Girl. She's training until we ourselves. So I'm assuming it's gonna be a badass workout. Lat Girl, first time really even watching her stuff, to be honest. Let's dive into it and let's see what we can do in terms of optimization. All right, let's go. Okay, cool. Oh, so we have Flex Gym. Shout out Flex Gym. Dope place. Amy Kennedy are the best. If you are in LA, go to Flex Gym. They are the owners there are amazing, and the community there is redonkulous, and the equipment there is great too. It's just go. If you're in the area, go. All right, so we're doing back. All right, so I mean, right away you have no right to do. Right, you have every right to try everything you want, but look, if your name's gonna be Lat Girl, I'm not gonna go easy on you, Lat Girl. Sorry. Everyone's on an even playing field when we're here. Effort, 100%, love it, but so I don't know what the point of that is, but so we have bands, good. Okay, cool. So again, you guys seen the way I've actually done this before. You know, I've showed you guys different ways you can do this, but definitely use a bigger band. But your goal is, no matter what you are trying to do, no matter what, we are trying to be in a completely stretched position, engaged, and then able to pull elbows to the side all the way up, chest going to bar, right? So I gave you guys that cue before of like, you know, just basically sit down, like put your hand here and try to touch your chest to your hand. And you'll automatically open up like this, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We want to be like this while we're pulling on the way up. And we're going to use whatever we have to use in terms of aid to be able to, you know, achieve that. So if your band isn't giving you enough, there's no benefit, because where are you going from there in terms of like progressive overload? When you look at like progression, you know, when you're trying to move forward, right? What is your measurement? What are your variables, right? What is it based on? If I'm going to add more weight or do one more rep, what is that based on? Is that based on you just getting to a set point of a distance or whatever, or is it when the body goes through the proper, you know, pathway? Dang. All right, so here we go, right? Like it's, you know, I'm just gonna look at this, guys. We want to be able to control ourselves. So again, use the tip I use. Go in the rack and try this, or just use a bigger band. There's nothing wrong with getting another band there. Get yourself a stool so you can actually get there, or just if you have, I've been there before. They have an assisted machine there. Go there first, if anything, and work on that, because now we call it loading on dysfunction, right? You're basically starting off your exercise, your day. You're setting the tone, loading through the wrong pathway, and then you go from here, and then we get into, you know, good for getting up, you know, good job. But now we're into a machine, and we're looking at, you know, there like so much scap movement that's not necessarily smooth, controlled, and with intention, more so than it's just like kind of moving. So what we want to do is like slow this down, man. Like slow these movements down. That's why it's important to slow the movement down. Is so you can actually feel the movement, control the movement. Because at this point here, we're down, like we can see, you know, we see her hands moving this. We don't get a good control. Like, I get this is B-roll. I get it, right? We got a bunch of B-roll. You know, good shots and stuff. Some, you know, keeping everyone's attention. You know, sweet. But like, I have not yet seen one clean rep. If you're gonna get those shots, those like nice action shots, you want to see like a clean roll of like someone doing a rep where there's intention, where you can clearly see that this is where we are trying to, how we're trying to lift it, and you can see it. you know? So it's like, I could just pause here. Like, this isn't the posture we want. We want a posture that's like, again, just sit up in your seat like this, put your hand here and just try to touch your chest to your hand. And you'll perk up. Now, while we're there, we're not vacuuming either. We're engaging our core. So this is very, I would say it's kind of advanced, but try it, right? Basically, take your hand like this. Pretend you're trying to lift your hand, your chest to your hand, like you're doing this. You're going from here and you're trying to do this, right? Now, doing this, you probably might feel your lower back a bit curve a little bit. And you probably will find that, right? So that's fine. Now I want you to pretend that someone's trying to punch you in the stomach and you're going to almost like tense up, right? So you're going to tighten up, but you don't have to like breathe out. You can be here in this posture here. You can have your chest up right here. I'm still breathing in and out, right? But I can still tense my core. I can still push into it. Like if someone's going to punch me in my stomach, I'm going to tense into it. I'm not going to vacuum. So you want to kind of try and do that. Try to do that. Lift up, engage your core. And that's how you want to be basically in that position and be able to move through that alignment. You should be able to still move, protract, and retract easily through this without having your spine doing all of that, right? And then we have a lot of anterior delt here, a lot of trap engagement here, and that's where we're kind of stuck up here, right? Fight or flight is going to happen in anything. What I mean by fight or flight is basically this. No one knows, like, your body doesn't know the difference between you doing bench press or in a hard rep or throwing an animal off of your chest. Like, just, like, get it away. Your body's not like shoulders back to press. It's not, your body's like, get it off, protect it, push it away, right? And that's what you get. You get people, you see people lift. It's going down at the hard rep. They start to do this. They're closing off because it's a protecting thing. It's that fight or flight response. The same thing when you're doing a pull-up. Your body doesn't know the difference between you doing a pull-up or you fell off a cliff and you're trying to pull yourself back up. It's not sitting there being like chest up. It's not doing that. It's saying get my ass up. It's pulling everything in like this. It's protecting itself. Because what we want to do is we want to be more efficient. The body doesn't want to necessarily be efficient like that because thinking about it, if I fell off a cliff trying to pull myself up, the strongest thing to do would be to really pull everything together. And that's what you would think. But in this case, we're not doing that. We're trying to isolate. We're trying to isolate your back, right? So those shoulders being down and being able to stay down at that top position, right, is what we want to be able to achieve. Is being able to be in a lengthened position here, like you see that. So everything, you can see the difference in like even the, shoulders, or one's doing this, the other's doing this. You have to be able to set shoulders, right? Be able to be like precise when you move, and that's what you base your progression. Like when you can do a certain movement consistently, where it is landing on that muscle that you are targeting. That is what you're basing it on. You're basing it on the full range from the start to finish and being engaged in that position, in each part of the lift instead of being like only one part. Like we have this tugging thing here, right? Slow motion, right? We have that just, this is slow mo here. We're just pulling it down. Like how much is that is on the lats? How much is that on your biceps and your wrists, your forearms, you know what I mean? Jerk, you know what I mean? You want to slow things down and get to a position where you're creating leverage between yourself, from your feet to that pad, and you're engaging your core. You're doing a plank on top of that pad right there. And when you're at the bottom right there, that's when you want to be like that protraction but engaged and still depression, so your shoulders are still down. We don't want traps pulling all the way up because now we're taking away from our lats, right? If we're doing, shoulder elevation, it's going to happen with the traps. You can't engage your lats with your traps. They're too opposing. They go the opposite way. It doesn't work. So you're losing a lot of that rep from this posture right here because most of that is being pulled up in your traps and your lats are not engaged. They have to go back. You know what I mean? So when we're doing these movements, you want your torso engaged, like your brace, like strong from your core, so you're in a posture where you're here. That's what you need. You don't want your spine always just flexing and and hyper, extending and flexion, extension, like hyper extending all the time you're moving. You want this thing straight so when it can lengthen. You gotta think every time you do this, you shorten your torso, right? Every time you flex, it's a shorter range. When you're up and extended, that range is that much greater, and you're getting that much more muscle recruitment than being in this like tight, posture, or you're missing the mark because your traps are always flopping in and out. So practice on making sure that your lats are staying engaged the entire time. So think chest, I would say like shoulders, back and away from your ears, or try that thing I was saying before is like engage your core, like keep it tight, like someone's gonna punch you in the stomach. And then while you're keeping it tight, try to raise your chest to your hand. And you'll feel yourself tight here. You want to be able to expand in this posture when you're doing a pull, right? Now, when you're doing like squats and whatever else, you're just in a good posture, period. But like when you're doing rows or pull-ups or, and you're really trying to engage the lats, you want those lats to be stretched by continuing to keep the lats or the traps, or I would say the scapula is down and retracted. And you can do that. A couple things you can try to do. One thing before you go is take your hands like this, put them on a table. Doesn't matter where it's at. Just in front of you like this. And then internally rotate a bit so your elbows are sticking out to the side. While they're out to the side, I want you to like just flex your arms, right? Don't pull and just flex it tight. And then from there, I want you to put pressure on your hand right here and just push down on the table or wherever you're sitting. To push down, keep your chest up. And you'll probably feel your chest a bit getting tight, and then underneath will start getting tight. Your lat will get tight. And I want you to just only push from your palm, this part of your palm here, and your elbow pushing down at the same time. And you'll feel this shift down. And that's what we're trying to do in this position. When we're here, when we're rowing, when we're pulling, all those things, we're trying to keep this down. So when we're all the way out, we're getting this stretched. Even when we're all the way stretched, instead of being here, then we shortened it. Anyway, give that a try. Check some of these videos out too on this. We want to, again, think your progression or your progressive overload is based on that constant, which would be a consistent range of motion, a consistent tempo, and then you can really focus on, when you should be loading the weight or whatever, because you're achieving those reps with that constant. Those things never changing, right? Your form doesn't change, range of motion doesn't change, the tempo doesn't change, and you do it with X amount of weight, X amount of times, and all of a sudden that gets easy because those constants are always there, and then you add some weight or whatever else. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you guys binge watch my videos. Until next time, you guys know what it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing.